Coming up on ATV News.
We got called to a 9-year-old boy who had a gunshot wound to the head.
We'll tell you how better gun safety might have prevented an accidental shooting.
We thought that was just like false news.
We'll show you how Kobe Bryant's passing has inspired Aggies to move forward with his mentality.
I wasn't able to play basketball or really walk and had to use crutches for 3 or 4 months.
Why this guy thinks curtains will make the arc safer.
In sports, I'll have your men's and women's basketball highlights, and I'll help you understand the game of lacrosse.
Punxsutawney Phil forecasted 6 more weeks of weather like this. I'll tell you what the pros say about next week.
All that and more, this is ATV News. Utah State got 5 inches of fresh powder Monday morning. Sunday, the groundhog didn't see his shadow and predicted an early spring, but the storm is proving otherwise. Welcome to ATV News. I'm KADEN Anderson.
And I'm Eric Price.
We have Sarah Murphy here with us to tell us more about the recent storm.
That's right, guys. And not only was the groundhog wrong, but this storm was worse than any others that we've seen this winter. The heavy snow that fell all Sunday night into Monday morning made driving dangerous, causing accidents on the roads. Elementary schools in the valley and even the University of Utah delayed morning classes, but not USU.
When I woke up, I was really bummed that school wasn't canceled, to be honest.
Yeah, and it wasn't just you. I know a lot of students were really disappointed, but you know, to be honest, I think us Aggies are way tougher than the other schools. And I'm gonna let you guys know how much tougher we're gonna continue to have to be with the full weather forecast coming up.
Firefighters are happy they could stop diesel from getting in Logan's waterways. The Logan Fire Department says a semi and trailer unhooked due to winter conditions. The landing gear bent and hit the gas tank, spilling 45 gallons of diesel. A spill like this calls for the fire department's hazardous materials team. It was right by Logan City's waterway.
Stopped right here, we have Logan City stormwater drains on both sides of this intersection, and that's not where you want to have diesel going, is in the waterway.
City crews vacuumed up the fuel that had already run into the drain.
Could better education have prevented a tragic gun accident over the weekend? I talked to experts who say better gun safety can reduce accidents.
You want to line up that orange dot between the 2 white ones and put that where you're aiming.
At Al's shooting range, shooters practice handling guns safely. Gun specialists at Al's say the #1 rule is to treat your gun as if it's always loaded.
Weapon safety is our top priority, making sure no one gets hurt.
SEAMONS says gun owners should not only practice gun safety on the range, but also at home, keeping guns unloaded and locked in a safe. Ammunition should be stored separate from guns. He says that if more children had proper gun training, tragic events like the one in Brigham City would happen less often.
If your children end up picking it up and they know nothing about them, they're, you know, as we've seen recently, we'll have accidents which can be very tragic.
Brigham City police are investigating a gunshot wound to the head. Police say that on Saturday, a 9-year-old boy shot himself in the head while showing his friend a gun that he found next to the safe. Police say that there are other ways to secure your guns.
If they don't have an opportunity to get a safe, there's trigger locks that you can buy. They're fairly cheap.
Here at USU Public Safety, you can get up to 2 free gun locks like this one to help ensure gun safety in the home.
Education, I believe, is the top priority.
Another one in, do 9. So it's 8+1, but don't do that. Just do 8.
Anybody who does not have any knowledge of weapons, educate them that it is a dangerous tool, obviously, but that's exactly what it is. It's a tool.
SEAMONS says Al's Sporting Goods lets kids shoot free on Mondays to encourage proper gun education.
The FDA says there are about 1 million kids in the U.S. with a peanut allergy. The Food and Drug Administration released a new drug for kids ages 4 through 7. These are allergic reactions of 21-year-old Summer Miller, who wishes she were young enough to get it.
Because if I was that young, I definitely would be so excited. It'd be so life-changing for me. I wouldn't have to worry about all the things I have to worry about. So I'm so happy that we have these children that do get that opportunity.
Miller says her EpiPen stops the reaction for just 15 minutes, which is why she says this new drug will save lives.
A tradition over 100 years is changing this week. ATV's Nathaniel Gillis is live at Block A. Nathaniel, what changes are being made?
The Student Alumni Association has been working on getting people who are disabled onto the Block A. The Student Alumni Association is going to be revealing a new ramp this week for True Aggie Night. Traditionally, students would walk up and down the Block A on a metal staircase. The A also doesn't have any rails around it, which would cause students who might dip their partner to fall off the edge. The president of the Student Alumni Association says it creates a safer way to become a true Aggie and makes it more inclusive.
I hope that potential students may see this and recognize that hey, there's a spot for me in the Aggie family. And we also hope that alumni who weren't able to participate in the event come back and finally get that chance to become a true Aggie. I think that'd be really cute.
In years past, the Student Alumni Association talked about creating a concrete ramp up to the Block A, but worried that it would hurt the integrity of the A. This year, they're going to be revealing a new metal ramp that will be able to include more people. Reporting from the quad, this is Nathaniel Gillis. Back to you, Kaden.
Thanks, Nathaniel.
Afternoon basketball at the Arc could get dimmer. At least that's the goal of one USU student. Students say basketball at the Arc is harder to play when the sun shines through the west windows and into their eyes. A petition was started by USU's VP of Athletics to put curtains on the windows because the sun is, quote, dangerous and also an annoyance.
I was running towards that west side, just playing, and there was a loose basketball, and I actually stepped on the basketball and tore a ligament in my ankle. And so it is something that has personally affected me.
A link to the survey is available on our Facebook page.
Yeah, curtains in the Arc would be nice, especially if you're trying to play basketball, sun in your eyes. It's always a bummer.
Or you could just wear sunglasses.
That's true, and I agree, except for the next 2 days, we're not really going to be needing any sunglasses or curtains because we don't really expect to see the sun very much. I'll have more details on that and weather coming up. The current temperature in Logan today is 23 degrees.
Coming from Provo, from Ogden, St. George.
Why are people traveling this far for a haircut? Find out coming up.
Look at me, hey!
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww. You should pick that up.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
For you.
They want to help, but don't know how. Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
So, I got this new family. And I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy. Oh, and she even talks to it. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
I'm Sarah Murphy, and recently we've been having a lot of snow and very cool temperatures, so let's see what we can expect for the next week. We're going to start by looking at our national radar here. Let me tell you, the real story is this massive winter storm over here that is called Winter Storm KADEN. And this is the storm that we just experienced here in Logan just a few days ago, and as you can see on the map, it's slowly making its way over to the eastern half of the country this week. It's bringing snow and ice to the northeast and eastern part of the states, and down here in the south, it's bringing heavy rain and thunderstorms. So basically, if your plans take you to anywhere in the east this week, make sure you keep an eye on this big storm over here. We're going to look over at the west coast on this side. So taking a look at California and the southern part of Oregon, it looks like they have pretty clear skies and even temperatures. But note that up here in the Pacific Northwest, this big blob over here, this is a big weather system that's making its way into Washington with really heavy rainfall and potential flash floods. And this is important because this weather system over here is what's going to be affecting us here in Utah, specifically in Cache Valley. Let's take a look at our state radar. So this storm from the Pacific Northwest is making its way over to the Wasatch Front and to Cache Valley in the Idaho-Logan border here. And what that's meaning is from today probably to tomorrow is we can expect about 1 to 3 inches of snowfall. So make sure you're aware of that. Let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. Starting with today, as you can see outside, there is a 90% chance of snow, and that's going to continue from today all the way to about Saturday. The temperatures starting tomorrow to Saturday are going to be in the high 30s, low 40s with the low mid 30s. And on Saturday, it can even has the potential of dropping all the way down to 20. So make sure you're aware of that. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, it's expected to potentially warm up a little bit. On Sunday, it'll be a high of 31 and a low of 14. Monday, a high of 30 and a low of 12. And Tuesday, a high of 28 and a low of 11. There is a potential with these temperatures that we might be seeing some more snow next week around Wednesday, but that all depends on what happens in the next few days. So basically, keep out your winter coat, keep out your snow boots because you are going to need them. Well, that's all I have for today. Now back to Eric at the desk.
Thank you, Sarah. You might have to drive only a few minutes to get your haircut, but some drive over an hour to get the cut they want. Buzzing and loud music. That's what you hear in a barbershop like this.
African American hair, once you cut it, it's cut and it just looks clean.
Barbers here don't cut hair you would normally find in Utah.
I feel like that tight curl, that black texture is extremely challenging.
These barbers will say cutting black hair is no walk in the park.
It's not straight. It doesn't typically grow in one direction.
Thank you. Thank you both.
It's not just African Americans who come here.
So typically the type of customers we get in here, what I would say would be range, diverse, bunch.
That's looking clean, bro.
Barbers say their customers are happy after their cut.
They like what they get when they come, you know what I mean?
Barbers in Utah say there isn't a lot of variety.
We don't have like that diverse of a population here in not just Salt Lake, but in Utah in general.
In Utah, it's hard to find a barber to cut for a hair texture such as this, especially if you live in a rural area. It's not just black men who have these issues.
I've had friends that have gone places and they come back telling me just like horrible experiences they had going there because they got charged extra because their hair texture was different.
To keep a clean cut like this, you have to come here more than once a month. Many people of color get their hair cut as often as every 2 weeks. That's a lot of time commuting to the barbershop. For some customers, it's more than just the haircut.
Haircut is so much more than just, you know, a haircut. It's your appearance, you know?
If you're looking for a fresh cut, Another Level Barbershop is located on North Temple in Temple Street in Salt Lake City.
The number of people going to church has been going down, and this includes the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Camorra.com reports the church had 197,000 new members in 2018. That's the lowest net growth since 1978. This was a 1.21% increase, the lowest since 1937, and it's not just the LDS church.
The number of people affiliating with religion or going to church of any kind, so this is not just Mormonism, this is Christianity, but other religions as well, it's just dropping off a cliff.
Mason says the decline may impact Utah's politics if the trend continues.
Do you have Mamba mentality? Jonathan May shows you how these Aggie players were inspired by Kobe Bryant's philosophy.
Behind the back, and then the finish. Oh my goodness.
He was looked up to in arenas all over the world.
Just go ahead and, okay, go ahead.
The 5-time champion. The man who scored 81 points in a game.
81-point game.
The Black Mamba. Not just in the seats, but out on the floor.
He was just like a hero. He really laid down the foundation of working hard, and I really just looked up to him for stuff like that.
Now he's gone.
Almost the entire team was just kind of like, just thunderstruck, just really quiet and just mellow-toned. But it just shows, how great of an influence he had on even people that he's never met.
The team says they plan on honoring Kobe Bryant by using his Mamba mentality every time they step out on the court.
Just always attacking the day with his mentality of just giving it all you got and leaving no regrets, because that also lets you know that your whole life could be taken from you at any time, and time's never given.
A philosophy echoed by Coach Smith.
He really inspires a lot of the team to have that Mamba mentality with that same work ethic, that same diligence.
With half a minute to play, Bryant for the lead! Yes! Kobe Bryant!
Jonathan May, ATV News.
The Aggies will play UNLV tonight in the Spectrum at 8 p.m.
I don't know about you guys. I plan on being at that game. What about you?
I got too much homework to do.
Unfortunately, I can't make it home for that.
And coming up after the break.
I mean, you're going to get beat on your arms all day.
Why would you let someone beat you with a stick?
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today, I'm just an aluminum can, but one day, I could be a stadium.
So, I got this new family. And I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy. Oh, and she even talks to it. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Live with a human for a while, and you get to know a few things. Like, I know she does strange tricks for no treats. But the one thing I will never for the life of me know is how she gets so tiny and inside that box. Natalie, how do you get so tiny?
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic. That means many of the future doctors who will care for us, the engineers who will build our cities, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country can be your kids. We all know how hard it is for you to send them to college. This is why we want you to know you are not alone. And every day, more people support you to make it happen. Many support you. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education.
Learn more at hsf.net.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. This is a serious problem, but one we can solve. Visit feedingamerica.org to help. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're feeding America.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
Hi, and welcome back from the break. This is Aggie Sports, and I'm Brandon Dean. The Utah State men's basketball team traveled to San Diego Saturday to take on the Aztecs. San Diego State retired Kawhi Leonard's jersey at halftime, which may have helped them rally to win the game. Utah State got a great dunk by Neemias Queta right here and led by 8 at halftime over the number 4 ranked Aztecs. Sam Merrill led the charge in the first half with 9 points and 6 assists, but San Diego State's hot shooting from downtown at almost 48% in the second half catapulted them to an 80-68 victory over the Aggies. The Aggies take on UNLV in the Spectrum tonight at 8. Do you ever feel like taking out your aggression on anyone by beating them with a stick? Lacrosse lets you do just that. I spent some time with Utah State's men's lacrosse team to help explain the sport to you.
Lacrosse is a fast-paced, physical game that combines skills from many other sports.
For me, transitioning over from playing basketball and coaching basketball to playing lacrosse and coaching lacrosse, there's a lot of similar movements and rotations there, which made the transition that much easier for me. The physicality from football, especially with that body-on-body, the running of soccer, you get a good kind of mix of everything all in this one game.
Players have an 80-second shot clock to try to shoot the ball past the other team's goalie, much like in basketball. So they try to move the ball around to create some confusion in the defense before taking a clear shot. The goalie's job is to stop that shot and direct the defense.
If it's straight up the middle, they've got a lot of cage to look at, so we kind of try and want to push them to the outside. Once they get to that outside, it brings the angle down. I know that they do the same thing in hockey.
Players love their goalie, but often say,
those guys are batshit crazy.
Just because the ball's coming in at you really fast, you get hit by it. We don't wear a whole lot of pads.
So why don't goalies and lacrosse players in general wear many pads?
For quickness, you know, you just got to be quick in the cage, and then your body gets used to it after a while.
Nobody wants those big bulky pads because they get in the way.
College lacrosse still requires that you wear a helmet, chest protector, elbow pads, and gloves because
if you're the guy with the ball, the defenders can either hit you with their sticks or they can just full-on body check you.
the coaches decide who's on the field based on which team has possession and who matches up best in that situation.
We look for who's leaving their heart out there.
One more! Hey, one more!
Skill can only go so far. When you have heart and you have effort, that just takes it to that next level.
Other than after timeouts, you restart the play with a face-off at the X, or center of the field. This is usually done by a face-off specialist.
There's a million different ways that the face-off can go. It's about reading your opponent and being able to react to that. So it's a huge mind game.
Like most sports, possession is the most important thing because if you have the ball, you can score and the other guys can't. So taking face-offs is an important role.
That's my contribution, and as long as I can win that, that's good enough for me.
The next home game is Friday the 28th when USU takes on the Wyoming Cowboys. A former Aggie became a Super Bowl champion on Sunday when the Kansas City Chiefs took down the San Francisco 49ers. Darwin Thompson plays running back for the recently crowned champions. During the game, Thompson carried the ball once and was just inches away from scoring the Chiefs' first touchdown of the night, but ended up with no gain on the play. Thompson has 3 years left on his contract. And while playing for the Aggies, he had 1,044 rushing yards. Women's basketball took on Wyoming and San Diego State last week in some close contests. Taylor Franzen got 2 of her 6 points here, finishing the game 3 for 3 from the field. The Aggies were led by Lindsey Jensen-Baker's 15 points on 67% shooting against Wyoming, and the team shot 38% from three-point range in the game. The hot shooting wouldn't be enough, though, as Wyoming topped Utah State 65-54. Aggies took on San Diego State Saturday in another tight showdown. Haley Bassett dropped 15 points for Utah State in the game to go along with 6 rebounds, but took her 21 shots to get those points. The Aggies defense had a hard time stopping Aztec guard Sofia Ramos, who had 24 points and 8 rebounds to lead them to a 59-51 victory over Utah State. The women played UNLV this afternoon and lost 45-69. How many athletes get their start because of a role model? It can be tougher for girls to find theirs. ATV's Adam Larson shows you how Utah State gave girls the chance to meet and play with their role models.
Yes, I got it. I saw that. Good job. High five.
Tennis. Soccer.
and cheer, just 3 of the sports girls tried out at Utah State for National Women in Sports Day.
It gives me a chance to like do some of the sports that I don't do, you know, just like with no pressure, you know, just for fun.
I love showing the girls what sports are out there and meeting the athletes so they know what the possibilities are for them in the future.
Girls could learn about a variety of sports, whether that be shooting a basketball, spiking a volleyball, or walking the balance beam.
Here, arms out. Good job.
One Aggie says she's glad to volunteer her time today.
I think it's so important that we have more women in sports and that it's equal to the men's and stuff like that, just to show that we can do just as much.
Let it bounce and hit it. Okay, one more. Let it bounce and hit it. Good job.
Girls tried out 8 sports today. Female Aggie athletes coached the girls through drills and options.
It lets girls know they can be what they want to be.
Yes, good job.
Great job, guys.
Aggies served more than tennis balls for about 50 girls.
I think they will like look up to us, and maybe one day they will be one of us and play like maybe for Utah State one day.
Adam Larson, ATV News.
Women in Sports Day is a free annual event at Utah State. If you missed it this year, most female athletes stick around after games to talk to the fans. Now you're all caught up on Aggie TV Sports. Back to you at the desk, Eric.
You may have seen that big machine around on the ice that makes it smooth and shiny. ATV's Brendan Dean takes you through a day in the life of a Zamboni driver.
Hockey players chip and shave away the ice as they practice. Smoothing that ice back out is the job of the Zamboni driver.
Technically, a Zamboni brand ice resurfacer is the proper technical term for the machine.
Driving the machine takes time and practice to perfect, even though you're just driving in circles.
One time, I was coming around on my first lap and someone left the door open for the penalty box. And the side of the front of the Zam caught that and shattered the glass.
Drivers have more to think about than just making right turns.
Everybody's like, oh, it's probably super fun. I'm like, not as much as you would think. Like, there's a whole lot that goes into it. The snow likes to stick in the container, and so you have to shake it out. And then there's the hot water control, the wash water control, and then the blade depth.
The machine makes slush to fill in the ruts and then uses hot water to smooth out the rest. The blade is now lowered into the ice, so it's cutting the ice. And as the blade cuts the ice, snow is formed, and the augers push the snow to the center, and then a center auger pushes snow up into the dump tank.
Making a clean, smooth ice surface takes time and effort to maintain.
We edge almost every night. Go around to the corners and chip away at the high points.
The result makes skating and handling a hockey puck easier because you don't get slowed up by snow and ruts.
At an ice rink, the ice is the product.
If you're gonna come and pay for it, we'll make sure it's clean ice.
In 15 minutes, the ice goes from crap to good.
Brandon Dean, ATV News.
If you want to see the Zamboni in action, the Eccles Ice Center cleans the ice after most activities throughout the day.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of ATV News. You can catch all of our latest editions on our Facebook page.
We will leave you with some shots of the Women in Sports Day.
Come and try the strength and conditioning class. Train like an athlete.
Aggie Air is an innovative engineering program exclusive to Utah State. It provides opportunities for students to get hands-on and real-world experiences. By building model planes that photograph and scan detailed images of landscapes, Aggie Air can change the way we use the Earth's surface. Watch as Aggie Air takes flight.